We are. Now we're here. Now here we are. Hey, Boozeketeers. It's Tuesday night. You know what that means. Cocktails with Tiki King. And as I promised, I said, well, I didn't know. I don't know if I promised. I mentioned. I said, I put in a sentence saying that I was going to come to you from a very special location. And in fact, we are. But I'm not going to tell you what it is yet because it's going to be a big surprise. For everyone involved, probably. Because that's how these things go. So what are you doing tonight? Well, I don't know. Tonight is episode 54. This isn't the grand reopening extravaganza because that's probably going to happen after Christmas. Just so you know, Christmas night, don't tune into the show because we're probably not going to do it. Who knows? We might do some sort of live stream madness or something. Some incidental thing. But Cocktails with Tiki King will be postponed for the event of Christmas. So you guys can booze it up with your family instead of hanging out with me, hoping that I'll do something interesting. So what are we doing tonight? Well, like I said, we are here at a special location. I'm sipping on a slightly altered painkiller to slightly alter my pain. That's good. So many of you know, some of you don't, but most of you know that I'm currently located in Utah, probably for the duration. And people always ask me, they're like, Utah, why do you go to Utah? You can't drink there. And so the truth is, and that's what we're going to get to later, but the truth is you can drink here. In fact, you can drink all kinds of places here. Utah is not a dry state like everyone thinks. It does have some laws. There are some things you just sort of have to get used to. One of the ones that we found, that we learned in an interesting way is that if you go to the convenience store and buy cold beer, it's going to only be 3.2% instead of 4.8 or whatever that you're used to, and you'll find that you're drinking all night long going, wow, I'm barely catching a buzz here. It's because it's lighter. That's the law. But you can go to the state store and you can buy all the beer you want at the regular strength, but they can't serve it cold. That's one of the laws. You can't have beer ready to sell, ready to drink, whatever, ready to consume at the full strength. Why that is, I don't know. Another one, which I think I might have told you about last time, is that in restaurants they can only serve you a certain amount per hour, and I found that out when I ordered a Long Island iced tea, which has like 4 shots of booze in it, and I ordered another one, and they said, yeah, we can't do that because we can only give you, I think it's technically like 3 shots an hour or something like that. So there are definitely some things that you have to get used to, but it's by no means a place where people like me and people like you, if you're tuning in, I'm assuming you're people like me, not too much like me because that would be weird. And Utah, and so Utah. Something a lot of people don't know is that approximately it's like a third of the states here in this good old USA have some sort of state liquor laws. Whether it's their blue laws or there's different things that different states have their idiosyncrasies when it comes to buying booze. Like I know Oregon, same thing. They have state stores. You can't just go in and buy your alcohol at the at a gas station or even a grocery store. I know when I was in New York, it may have changed, but when I was in New York, you had your beer and wine stores, and then you had your liquor stores. They have all these different laws in different places, but like I said, it's just something that you learn the ropes and you get around, and you find that even though maybe you can't walk into 7-Eleven and walk out with a bottle of Jameson, you can certainly, once you learn your way around, there's plenty of good stuff to be had, which kind of brings us to what's going on tonight. So where we are, did you guess? Did anyone guess? Some people probably. I bet some people will. We're here from the Boozetique, here at 315 Broadway in Salt Lake City. And the Boozetique is owned by the lovely Ivy, who's not sitting next to me, but will be here in a moment. Once I sit down, then there will be...
Oh, man.
Yeah. So this is Ivy.
Hello.
You say, hello, Boozeketeers.
Live streaming over here. Hold on.
Or are you live streaming? Us live streaming?
Yeah.
Oh, now we're going to get in. We might get into a weird feedback loop. I don't know.
Well, I'm on my Instagram page, live streaming from there.
So Ivy's trying one of my altered painkillers for the first time. You said you haven't had a painkiller.
No.
Yeah, they will kill your pain if you do it right. It's a lovely thing, I think. But
tasty.
And we're enjoying them. We're actually enjoying them out of these fine tiki mugs, which is one of the things that you can find here at the Boozetique.
Yeah. And I'm getting some. I have a new shipment coming in, and they're gonna look. They're really cool looking. They're nice.
Great. So we'll hopefully we will we'll get some people down here clamoring for the fine wares. We'll get all of me coming in here looking for stuff. I'm kidding. So I brought you a present, by the way.
Me?
Yeah, brought you.
Oh.
It's a tiki drinking a martini.
Wow. Cool. I gotta get a picture of that. Oh man, that's cool. Oh.
So if you're, now that you're since you're expanding into
That's
the
cool.
tiki line, and you're already in the sort of booze line, I figured that's kind of
Yeah.
cool.
Trying to switch this. I don't know. Yeah, I started getting tiki things. I kind of noticed that people were making more tiki drinks, and they were asking about tiki drinks and ingredients to make tiki drinks, and so it's been probably the last year or so. Maybe it's because of you. How long have you been?
I don't know. Well,
when did you move here?
It was 4 months ago. So when I
Oh, okay.
relocated here on a fairly permanent basis.
Maybe it was you.
But we have been trying to get your shop out to the fine folks out on the internets there, so that they can.
Yeah.
So how did you? I mean, once again, the question people always ask me, Utah, there's no booze. Why are you there? I was surprised to find a store called the Boozetique. I assumed I was looking for barware because I was actually looking for a strainer. Strangely enough, I couldn't find my strainer, and I could not find any in the supermarket, the
Yeah.
racks of kitchenware, and strainers are a fairly common item, but yeah, I couldn't find one, so I actually just looked up barware, and I saw Boozetique, and I thought, okay, that's got to be the place to go, because there was another place that was like restaurant and bar supply, but I thought that doesn't seem like they're going to have the esoteric things that fine boozing gentlemen might need on a Saturday night or Tuesday night in this instance.
Yeah, Tuesday night.
Yeah.
Tuesday night.
So how did you get started in this?
Well, so 7 years ago, my husband, so in this space, our friend had a coffee shop here, No Brow Coffee, and we were friends with him, and he said, I'm moving out. I can't fix this place up anymore, because this building was the first Model T dealership in the West.
Wow.
So it's 100 years old, and it's really cold.
Well, I
And
noticed you
there's
have a
no
fine heat system now. So.
Yeah, because Josh put that in for me, put in the heat. Because I was freezing to death. I was like, I'm going to freeze. So
That was a
put
problem
that
I had
in.
in my store when I had a ukulele store.
Oh,
And
yeah?
it was in the same thing. It was in a building that was easily 100 years old, had no insulation at all. And so during the summer it was sweltering hot, and during the winter it was
Yeah.
literally you could see your breath.
Yeah.
And
it's like
so
here.
those old buildings. But you've done a great thing with it.
I got to put on my tiki necklace.
So sorry to mean to interrupt you. So
Oh, well, so we had this. So our friend was moving out, and my husband, who makes this big, huge audio system here,
yeah, these enormous speakers. These are just
He,
fantastic.
he hand makes this.
Oh, and all the tube amps and.
Yeah. So he cuts
Wow.
out all the metal, welds it together, bondos and paints, and he wires all this, and then he listens incessantly to it until it sounds good. But it's never good enough, so he's always like tearing it apart and putting it back together again.
Audiophile.
So he's an audiophile.
Well, I noticed when we came in, the whole place was sort of vibrating. We're going,
Yeah.
hey, we're here, hello.
That's because this stereo system gets really, really loud.
It was good though. It was clear. It was amazingly clear for the volume. So
Yeah.
it's some good stuff.
So when we moved in here, I thought, wow, this is cool. We're gonna have our audio store. It's gonna be we're gonna do so well. And then about 6 months into it, I realized that people in Utah, they're a little bit, they don't really want to spend time and money on this amount of audio and this kind of money that it takes to make this, because it's all one-off, it's all custom made. So after about 6 months, I was like, I'm so bored, what am I going to do? But my friend had just adopted a baby. Hi, Melinda. She was here yesterday buying stuff. And she adopted a baby, and I thought, I'll give her a bottle of champagne for a baby shower. She's adopting a baby. That doesn't seem appropriate now that I think about it. But
Oh, I've got something less
okay.
appropriate than that. I'll tell you about in a minute.
It was a Sophia Coppola, and it was pink. And I was like, well, it's a girl. She's adopting a girl. So I went over to the wine store, which just happens to be around the corner too, and I knew it was there. And I went in there and I said, where do I get a wine bag to give this champagne as a gift? And they said, I don't know, the dollar store. And I was like, what? The dollar store? So I went to the dollar store, and all the bags were like on the floor. Kids were running on them. They were falling apart. They were broken. And I already had this space around the corner from the wine store, and I thought, why don't I just sell this stuff? I'm like right there. And so I did. I just jumped in, and I think I only had like a box full of stuff back then, and I pretty much sold that box in a month, and then it just kind of took off from there.
Wow. We certainly, like I said, I was I was amazed beyond my wildest capabilities when I came in. There's so much fun stuff. And it, so aside from a wine, so obviously I'm assuming you have appreciation for all this sort of thing.
Well, look, I thought it was a good idea because nobody else was doing it. But I was raised LDS. I was raised Mormon.
Oh, okay.
I didn't even open a bottle of wine. I had never opened a bottle of wine. I'd never really had a cocktail. And so I kind of like fell into it, and I just kind of like found out more about it and looked into it and about drinks and what it takes, and I finally opened my first bottle of wine a few years ago.
That's all downhill from
And
there.
We're so proud of you.
Yeah, I'm like a grown up now. Look at me.
Well, that's because that's things that, like I said, I've been to places that sell things, but a lot of times there's not the cohesiveness. There's not, which we're gonna, don't worry, we're gonna show you around the place. But it's not, you don't just have a shaker and some cheap Mr. T syrups. I mean, there's really the variety and the things and the accoutrements. That's why I was wondering if, like I said, what your sort of appreciation was. When I had my ukulele store, it wasn't just I had, ukuleles, like the accessories and knowing what people wanted, and I got really into the minutia of it.
Yeah,
and that's one thing with
what happened to me.
Yeah, with barware especially, there's so much specialty stuff.
There is.
And knowing, well, that's one of the things about the show is that we talk about sometimes what you need and what you don't, and what you can get by with and what you want. And there's there's so much stuff. Anyone who gets into doing any kind of making drinks and stuff, you start finding there's like, ooh, I really want one of these things. And,
Yeah.
you can get by with sometimes other stuff, but I think here, like I said, this is a good resource, and we're gonna try and push it out to as many of people like us as there are that we can get to do it.
And so I wanted to get nice things. I didn't want to have high fructose corn syrup mixers. I didn't want to have cheap salts, and I wanted to have nice things, not cheap shakers. I mean, I do have some inexpensive things for people that are just starting out. And they don't want a really nice, expensive shaker. So I have inexpensive tools, but all of the mixers and all of the ingredients are a little higher end.
Yeah, well, I noticed it wasn't. That's the thing is that when like I said, I came in here just looking for a strainer, and you had exactly what I wanted, and the price the price was right. But I noticed, and there was also, I was kind of going, oh wow, there's like there's several levels of, it's like from good to professional level.
Yeah,
And that's, like I said,
professional.
something that's difficult to find is a place that isn't focused on only professional level or only sort of novelty level.
Yeah.
Um,
I have a little bit of everything.
yeah, it's good. So it's funny you were saying about you didn't know if it was appropriate to give a bottle of wine as a baby shower present. I actually made my most recent design for T-shirts is a stork with the baby, but the baby's wearing a fez and holding a martini, and it says it's a Boozeketeer.
Yeah.
'Cause that's it. So that's what I didn't know. The fans of the show call themselves Boozeketeers. So that's
Cool.
So it's
Yeah.
Tiki King's Boozeketeer Club.
Hello, Boozeketeers.
Yeah. So that's so there's a bunch of them. I've actually been surprised. As much as people are surprised that I'm able to find drinks in Utah, I'm surprised at how many fans of the show there are here in Utah. A while back we were trying to figure out what to do because the regulars know, and I told you, we don't always meticulously plan out how the show is going to go. Sometimes it's a little bit off the cuff. And one night we were driving around trying to figure out what exactly we were going to do in the next 10 minutes to start the show. And we ended up at a Red Robin, which is not necessarily famous for their drink quality. But we figured they had tropical drinks and they served them in tiki mugs, so we thought, okay, well, let's go in and do sort of see what's going on. But we went up to the host who was there, and I said, hey, is there any way we could get something that's, because there wasn't that many people, but everybody was in one area. And I said, is there any way we could get something a little bit out of the way? Because we're going to be doing this, I do this show, and it's probably not necessarily family friendly, and so we might want to be somewhere that's not, in the general throng. And he's like, well, I don't know. And I said, okay, here's the deal. And I took out a tiki, and I said, I'm gonna, and I kind of slid it across the table. And he goes, are you Tiki King? And I said, yes, I am. And he's like, I got just the thing.
Wow.
He took us in, he set us up in this back room. It was funny because I was like out here at a Red Robin in the middle. It was like in Lehigh or somewhere. Here was someone who was a fan of the show.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, so they're out there. They're.
But I think Utah is becoming more progressive, and I just saw an article that was in the Tribune that Salt Lake County now is mostly non-Mormon. So I mean, there's a lot of the drink and food and cocktail scene is growing, so it's getting bigger. And there's people like me that were raised LDS. I mean, there's lots of us that we're raised LDS, but we're not. We've left the church and we're finding our own ways and finding my way with booze.
with the
Where is my
booze.
booze? Hold on.
So I'm not sure you'll be ready for the next one.
No, probably not.
I know.
I'm a slow drinker.
I was. Oh, am I done already? So do you have a favorite cocktail? Now that you've been lured over to the dark side.
Yeah, I know. It's so dark over here.
Well, I saw. I have to confess, I saw you coping with the issue of your dog not wanting to come down the stairs
Oh,
with a cocktail in hand. I love this.
Well,
It's like the dog won't come down.
I had to warm up a little bit.
Yeah.
I had to pre-game to get that dog. He was up a flight of stairs and he wouldn't come down. And there was no handrail there because my husband built the stairs, but he didn't put a handrail in there.
Do the dogs use the handrail usually?
Well, yeah. So I had to go up there with a cloth laundry basket and shove him in there, and then scooch down on my butt down the flight of stairs with him and struggling in the bag. He's all freaking
Should have given
out.
him some of the cocktail.
No way, it's all for me.
No, that just cracked me up because you're very concerned, and then.
Yeah, I had to.
So what were you drinking at that particular?
I think it was whiskey and something, probably whiskey and
One of my
ginger
favorite
ale,
cocktails
I
is
think.
whiskey and then more whiskey.
yeah, more. That's my favorite. Well, I mean, because I'm here every day, all day, 11-ish to 7. well, Monday through Saturday, but in December I'm going to be open on Sundays too, because it's really busy. So, by the time I get done with her, I'm just like, what? Just, I don't know, whiskey and some ginger ale, and that's it. But
That's a what kind of whiskey?
Different ones, but Tin Cup seems to be, it's not too, it's really nice mid-shelf. It's not too expensive.
I haven't tried yet. I've been very tempted simply because of the tin shot glass. It's intriguing to me. I love such thing. I love I love drinking accoutrements.
We have tons of those things now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that, but I also, somebody came in and they were looking for things to make in aviation.
Okay.
And I was like, what is that? So I started making it, and I love that thing. So I make aviations when
I believe that's on. So I don't know if you know. I have a cocktail database that you can go on, and to find cocktails. It's not as high tech as a lot of them now, where you can enter what you have and it will tell you what you can make. It's all alphabetical and but it has drinking tips. Drink a lot, drink quickly. No, it has bar tips and how to do how to use pourers correctly and like measuring and that sort of thing. But that's one of the things that is that the aviation is on there. So I was just looking tonight because I was looking through trying to decide what drink I wanted to make.
Yeah, and it's a really pretty drink too.
Yeah.
And it was called an aviation because it's kind of a sky bluish color, and so
Is
and
that
it
with
reminded him of the
blue
sky.
curacao?
No, it's creme de violet.
Oh, okay.
Creme de violet. Sorry about my French there.
I don't know if I had Parfait Amour, which is a semi-similar thing, but I haven't had the violet. And I like violet. People used to hate it because I always had those violet candies.
Oh, really?
And I like them. People they taste like soap and perfume mixed together.
It does taste a little soapy-ish, but it's okay. It's alright. You say that like it's a bad thing.
No. That's we were actually talking about that with the Turkish Delight, which some people love it, some people don't. But it's one of those. It's like rose water, and it has that same sort of
rose
perfumey.
water. Yeah, rose water and hibiscus. I have hibiscus, flower water, and I have lots of different kinds of flower water, and they don't taste kind of soapy-ish.
I'm gonna make some more, and we'll top up our drinks, and then you can give us a little bit of a tour and show us the stuff here. But so, as I said, tonight we're making the drinks that we're currently enjoying are a slightly modified version of the Painkiller, which you have seen on the show, and we'll get to the slightly modified portion in a minute. And I'm just going to use my hands because I'm in a hurry. Not that big of a hurry, actually. I'm having a good time here because I'm in someone else's element that's a lot like my element, so it makes me happy. So tonight, the Painkiller. What is the Painkiller? The Painkiller is normally for people who are normal, and that's not you guys, but I'll tell you what the other people are drinking. The Painkiller is a 4111 cocktail. It's 4 parts pineapple juice, 1 part orange juice, 1 part cream de coconut, and 1 part rum. But tonight we're slightly going to alter that, like I said. So we're going to start out with the basics, which we're going to do the 4 parts of pineapple juice. I'm using everything we're using here tonight is this is all stuff that Ivy has here at her shop. Include the jigger, the shaker, the strainer. Some of the ingredients here is all stuff you can find here at the Boozetique. So there you go. There we go. Okay, so we have 4 parts of pineapple juice. We have 1 part of orange juice. So as I said, we're deviating slightly. We're using 3/4 of a part of coconut milk and 3/4 of a part cream to coconut. We're using a dash of falernum. Falernum is one of the fine things you can get here. It's hard to find. That's why I was so excited when we came in here looking for just a strainer, and I was like, they have falernum. And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, no, they have falernum. This is awesome. and we'll get to there's more stuff, but we're going to do, I'm free pouring this, but we're going to do about a quarter of an ounce of falernum. My old friend Five Spice. Those of you who've been watching from the beginning know my love affair with Five Spice. People don't know what it is. Five Spice is clove, ginger, cinnamon, and anise. It's kind of an all-purpose thing. It adds a lot of nuance to drinks that's not found elsewhere. So then, the 4111, we got 1 part rum. But as I said, you know us. We're going to go with 1.5. Because that's how we are. You're getting a nice fine. This is the kind of thing, this is what we were talking about. This is a very fine professional grade. It's a Founder's Tin shaker. It's all steel. It's basically the same principle as a Boston shaker, but you don't have to worry about one thing, breaking your pint glass, or trying to, because one of the things which you'll see here, just like, let me get, with a Boston shaker, the tendency is as they cool and the metal sizes change, the lids get stuck. So you have to give them a hit. The problem there is that if it's glass, they can shatter. So that's one of the things, having an all stainless steel shaker, awesome. There we go. Strain that into there. Let's get a little more ice, and let me give yours, I'll top it up for you. If you want.
Where's the cocktail camera?
The cocktail cam. And then, shouldn't put in before, but I will put in now because. So the traditional garnish for the painkiller is a cinnamon stick. I'll out you. And how do you get them out of the jar? That's the beauty of a live show. We don't practice. Really?
Maybe they're stuck together.
Maybe. I don't want to be a garnish. There we go. So there's that. Yours was yellow, I believe. There we go. Oh, sorry. This is not right. I forgot. And the other part of the augmenting is we're putting in a float of 151, which is just boost the octane a little bit. Put in about 3/4 of an ounce, which when you're dealing with 151, about the equivalent of 2 ounces. There you go. Alrighty, why don't you show us what you got here?
Okay. Well, we have this really cool audio system. I gotta flip this back around. Okay. So, I have glass decanters for
Yeah, I noticed that.
whiskey.
Skull one, that's very nice.
Oh, this
Yeah,
is
but-
the Trooper.
Oh, it's yes
The
it is.
Stormtrooper. It's kind of hard to see.
Yeah.
And then the skull is over here.
Oh, there's the skull. Okay, yeah, I saw that earlier.
And then I have, so I go to a lot of estate sales, and I actually have people that come in, and they, this just happened the other day. They said, my mother died, and I have all this stuff, and I don't know what to do with it. Do you want to buy it? And I'm like, yeah, I'll buy it. So I buy a lot of vintage decanters and barware.
And that's starting to make a comeback. It's
Yeah.
decanters are one of those things that most people didn't ever bother with, but then a lot of people now they're setting up at least a home bar for the things they drink.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes having something nice that isn't just your whiskey bottle or what have you, that you can
Yeah.
put it into,
And they're really pretty, and some of them, like this one right here, is actually crystal. And it's really pretty. So I'll find crystal things occasionally.
Somebody's grooving out there.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have,
Somebody you know?
I don't know I don't know if I know this person,
Oh.
but I do have a lot of homeless people that walk by and they come in, they talk to me, and I'm just nice and talk to them. And sometimes they come in and they're like, I found this thing in the garbage. Do you want to buy it? I'm like,
Well, sometimes, but probably not most of the time.
yeah. Especially food stuff. I'm like,
Oh.
I don't want your baguette you found in the garbage. That's kind of snobby.
Garbage baguettes.
Yeah.
That's a. I think that's a little bit too niche for me.
So this is kind of the gifty area right here. So
You have
things-
Moscow Mule cups.
Moscow Mule cups, wine
Wine
box,
with all the, all the
tools.
tools, yeah.
And I gotta put down my drink. Well, this is kind of cool.
Oh, it's
Copper.
the tool.
And it's so this wine, or this, wine key is what professional bartenders call it. And if you're a professional bartender, you should tell me, because there might be a little discount in it for you. Just spread the word. So there's that, and then there's these. I saw a lot of these Glencairn glasses,
Oh, okay.
and it's for drinking scotch.
Oh, yeah, so you get the you get the nose and you get the whole. It's a.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that there is. That there are, for some things there's proper
Yeah,
accoutrements.
well, there's reasons why certain glasses are for certain drinks, for flavor, for aeration, for,
Well, that's one of the
just-
things with decanting, is that
Yeah.
originally that was so that you could slightly oxygenate the wine.
Yeah.
Or even that's one of the things that especially with some boozes like whiskey, is that depending on how fast you're going to drink it, decanting can add flavor. Over time, it starts to degrade the
Yeah.
booze. But if you're going to be using it in a short period of time, sometimes decanting can actually add to it.
Yeah. Here's one thing that people I was asked about it's the shambong, and it's for basically chugging champagne.
For shotgunning
Yeah.
champagne.
So
Wow.
I had multiple people ask me about this, and I'm like,
Huh.
really, you want to like chug champagne? You want to? All right.
That is something I
sounds
wouldn't.
good. I don't know. So I have the shambong. I have sake sets. I have beer flights. I have the spicy. This is locally made tongue. It's called tongue spank. It's hot salts, and here's the copper.
Oh, copper straws.
Copper
Yeah, straws
straws.
are that's a big thing, especially in the tiki drink scene. People are starting to get into having their own straws
Yeah.
because more and more bars also have gone to using either paper straws or no
Yeah.
straws at all.
Yeah,
And,
and I've had a lot of people that are like, I don't want this to go
See, I'm
into.
terrible. I brought plastic straws.
Well, I have more straws over here. We could just use them. So we had like gifty things, and
Yeah, I noticed that there's like I said, here's this whole thing of shakers and various, of from everything from sort of not decorative, but things that are more for
your home
for
bar.
sort of for the home bar to sort of show up all the way up to, like I said, here's the one that we're using tonight, which is downright just a professional shaker. It's going to stand up to the abuse. It's going to
Yeah.
this one, that one, and pourers, which on my show I've talked about being able to measure by how fast your pourers pour, so you can count
Yeah.
and you can do your bartending freehand and be pretty darn accurate. But that's another thing, is finding sometimes good ones are difficult, because they have them at the liquor store and they're terrible. They'll work, but they break down and they're
At
but
the
I mean-
liquor store here?
No,
can't-
not here,
They can't
but
sell those here at the liquor store, because
Really?
that's illegal.
I know that airliners, the mini bottles, are illegal here.
Yeah.
I knew that.
You can't get many bottles here
But I didn't know
anymore.
pourers. That surprises me.
Yeah, you can't buy any accessories in Utah at the wine store or liquor store. Nothing.
Huh.
You can't buy mixers. You can't buy only beer. You can only buy wine, beer, spirits, and that's it.
Huh.
And if you had just happened to, if your bottle, because sometimes they have bottles that have it's like a set with glassware in it.
Huh.
Occasionally they'll have that, but They are not allowed to sell. The Utah State Legislature said no, they can't sell anything but beer, wine, and liquor.
Wow. All the more reason to come here because you can
That's
get this
right.
stuff. But it's I mean, although all the way down, you got picks. I mean, jiggers. We have
Umbrellas for your drink.
Actually, last time we were here, you had a jigger that was like rounded.
Yeah, the bell jigger.
Yeah, and it's interesting.
They're over here. They get moved around a lot.
We had talked about that, I think, on the show, either on the show that night or previously. Apparently, the jigger, I don't know if you know this, was originally an egg cup.
Oh, really?
That someone who was
I didn't
mixing
know
drinks
that.
realized that there was 2 different sizes on the egg cup, and they could use that for.
I didn't know that.
And that's where it came from. I know. I was surprised too. I just assumed it was, But that's why those ones at the bell jiggers, if you look at them, it looks like an egg cup.
Yeah.
Ice picks, scissors, all these things are just
Ice picks, bar spoons, everything for your home bar. That.
flasks.
And if I don't have it, I will order it. Yeah. Lots of flasks. And of course, I think I have the Mormon temple flask that people love.
Oh,
And
we're
I
gonna have to see
sell
now. We're
out
gonna
of
have
that.
to. I think
Oh,
we know
where is it
someone who
now?
would be the perfect audience for the temple flask.
Yeah. I sell a lot of those suckers. And yeah, they're very popular. So.
When that's, we'll have to. Also, I'm in a band called the Wicked Tinkers, and it's Scottish and Irish music, and we play
Oh,
all
yeah?
the games. And flasks are very big at the game, so now we can say, hey, Wicked Tinkers fans, if you need a new flask, come on down and talk to Ivy, and she can set you up with.
Yeah.
Got all the
We
good
were
stuff.
talking about you, Wes.
Is Wes on there?
Yep.
But these are very popular because, does it have the glass in it?
So
Some have the.
It has a glass that
Okay.
expands out and gets bigger.
Very nice. And we were talking earlier about the syrups. You're saying you don't get the
Yeah,
the
there's
cheapo stuff. There's all
simple syrups and mixers, ginger ale, ginger beer. I just heard some people talking about how Moscow mules only use ginger
Ginger
beer,
beer. Yeah,
not
there's-
ginger ale. So and I have both, and tonic and club soda, and I have
everything but the booze.
everything but the booze. Yeah. Right here is the Luxardo cherries that
Those we talk about those a lot because they're
they're the best cherries that you can buy, and they're okay. I know you probably hate cherries because you're used to the cherries from the store. These are nothing like that, and I personally could not eat a cherry from the store. They're
Well, that's the
gross.
first
Those are
time-
actually tasty.
first time I saw them and saw the price, I was like, how good could it be? But they are definitely they're
They're
an experience
actually really
within their own. And
I know.
that's
I always tell people like, no, just trust me, you'll like this. But
well, it's like the
Yeah.
thing with olives. I've known people who will make a martini and then put in olives from a $2 jar of olives. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
I
if
know.
you're spending $20 on the drink, why are you?
yeah,
But those Luxardo cherries are. See, that just shows the caliber of things you can get here at the Boozetique.
yeah.
And
We have lots of mixers and lots of tiki mixers.
yeah, you were just telling me about that. Your
Paradise Blend, Tiki Spices, Orgeat. A lot of people are curious about Orgeat. Basically, Orgeat is almond syrup, but Orgeat is the French word for almonds. But it's pretty tasty. It's good. And then there's the passion flower. So you can
so many, so many different
experiment.
things. And you have the whole bitters.
Yeah, there's lots of bitters, and these are locally made. Beehive bitters are locally made. Bitters Lab is locally made. Fizz Bloom is locally made.
So once again, that goes
Crybaby
into
is locally made up here.
that's that whole thing of people saying, "Oh, well, Utah, nobody drinks there," but
They do. And they're getting into the cocktail scene, and they're making their own things. It's pretty
yeah,
amazing.
and that's and you Pishad's bitters, which are this is
Pishad's, yeah.
the what do you call the flagship bitters?
Yeah. So I have the
And the
industry
Angostura,
standard
Yeah.
of Angostura, because it's in every recipe book, and I always say like Angostura is the industry standard, and it's okay, but maybe try some other aromatic bitters. I mean, there's lots of them.
Well, I don't think people have, I don't think most people experiment with it, and they also assume, it's one of those things that most people just don't ever bother. I use them in, I surprised a bartender once because I said, can you put a drop of bitters in my martini? He's like, for what? And I said, because that's good. He's like, I've never heard of that before. And I said, you need to read more books.
In Salt Lake?
No, this was in. Were you?
Hmm?
Were you saying, stop talking? You're boring.
No, I was scratching my neck.
Oh, okay. She said
You gotta go like. Okay, we're done.
No, just so I mean, yeah, the amount of bitters. This is just awesome. These are all the things that.
This is actually. I mean, there's so many bitters out there. You could really. I could have like this whole place.
You have a
filled
bitters
with just
store.
Bitters. Yeah.
Amazing.
And
Yeah,
mixers, and I try and buy the non-high fructose corn syrup, the better stuff, and actually all these bitters over here, these are all testers.
Huh.
So just put a little dash on, and that's the difference between me and like pretty much every other store. There's only probably like a handful that sell bitters in Salt Lake, but here you can test it out and you can try it and taste it and see what you like, because sometimes Angostura is very anisey, very licoricey, and some people don't like that. And then so you can try different ones out and see what you like and what you don't like.
I was actually in a bar in San Francisco, and I was having the guy make me a Manhattan, and he'd never made one before. And so I told him, I was telling him what's in it, and then I said, and just a drop of bitters. And he got thinking, he's like, there's something clogging this up, and he popped the dropper top off and just dumped in probably a half an ounce of bitters. And it was,
Wow.
yeah.
Well,
People don't.
This is the cool thing about Angostura bitters is that they originally made this in Louisiana because people so the water was not very good. So they would need something to settle their
flavor,
stomach.
Oh, okay.
So they would drink this. And actually the tonic too, it has quinine, and that's good for meningitis. Just in case.
I know it's
So they used to give that to people for meningitis.
whatchamacallit, for the mosquitoes, for malaria.
Yeah. Maybe it's malaria, not meningitis.
I think it's malaria. Yeah, the
Don't
quinine,
judge me.
and also I've heard that it's good for cramps too. The quinine. There's a lot of
Good to know.
tonic water non-quinine because people have, one person's allergic and then someone goes, oh, all of it's bad. You can't have quinine, and quinine is actually
No, you should try quinine.
can be therapeutic. So.
And speaking of like inexpensive things like Schweppes, people are always like, I can buy Schweppes at $1 a liter at the grocery store, but it's not really that good. And then there's no quinine in there. It's not really good.
Yeah,
This is actually good stuff.
Yeah, I haven't had that. I've had Fever Tree, which is they're kind of they came on the scene a few years back, and well, actually much further back, but they only became widely available. And that's one of the things is that I think people are starting to realize if you're making a good drink, the quality of ingredients. We had actually, is it time to go? No, I shouldn't ramble on about nonsense that nobody cares about except for me. No, I was just gonna say, Boozeketeer West made me a cocktail with gin and with tonic syrup, I believe. It wasn't actually tonic water; it was like a gin and tonic, but it was a tonic syrup. With quinine.
I have that too.
Oh, okay.
I have small hands tonic syrup right there.
There you go. Yeah, and that was something I had never had, a gin and tonic that was a small cocktail rather than a rocks glass size.
Yeah.
But okay, well this is just amazing.
Come on down, take a
Come
look. There's
on
actually
down.
so much stuff here, and there's more glassware around the corners of a glass for pretty much any kind of cocktail you want.
So 315.
315 East Broadway, because there is a West. But I'm
315
the
East Broadway here in Salt Lake.
Yeah.
And your website is Boozetique.
BoozeteakeSLC.com. Somebody
Okay.
bought Boozetique.
And of course, you're on
And they're trying to get me
Facebook.
to buy it.
Oh, you
Yeah.
did?
And they're like, only $5,000 for Boozetique.com. I'm like, no. Goodbye.
Because SLC makes it that much more personal.
Yeah.
Well, there you go, Boozeketeers. You guys need to. What's that?
Well, she's now a
Oh,
Boozeketeer.
that's right.
I'm a
Come back over
Boozeketeer.
here. Yeah,
Oh, duh. Boy.
let's come back over to the bar for a moment.
Okay.
So as I said,
Wine bags.
the fans of the show, we call them, and they call themselves Boozeketeers. So we decided that we had, Tiki King's Boozeketeer Club is our sort of thing. And one of the ways that you can tell is the Boozeketeer button. So I'm going to present you. Normally you would have to grovel for one or send me some mail.
Well, I can
but since we're
grovel
here-
too. I'm pretty good at that.
But no, since you were
It's
kind
my
enough to allow
husband.
us to come in here and enjoy cocktails here and
Oh.
use your equipment and all this stuff, you are definitely a Boozeketeer.
Oh, thank you.
You are
That's
one of
nice.
us, as they say. So come on down and see Ivy. She will set you up with all the stuff that you need. And once again, next Tuesday, enjoy opening presents and boozing it up with your family instead of watching me ramble on and on and on and on while Maggie makes the, hey, why don't you stop talking motion. So there you go. Thanks. We were here at the Boozetique, and you guys were at home, hopefully having a drink and enjoying the whole thing. And thanks for being here. And we will see you whatever the Tuesday is after Christmas, 2 weeks from now. Bye, Boozeketeers.